kind of funny to think that Austin Butler is a little bit part of my childhood because he's like on every live action show you could think of with Disney and Nickelodeon, because I knew him from Zoe 101. Then he grew up, did a few movies there and there, but he was recently in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which he was really good in, and now obviously he's the king of rock and roll himself, Elvis Presley, with Baz Lerman directing. Elvis stars Austin Butler and Tom Hanks and is about Elvis Presley becomes the first rock and roll star and changes the world with his music. Now, I am no diehard fan of Elvis Presley. I obviously know who he is. I know how iconic he is and how important he is for the music industry and rock and roll itself. His music is very, very iconic. He's also in a bunch of movies from the early 60s that a lot of people didn't really know, honestly. And walking in the movie, I was interested in seeing like his life story, seeing like where he came from, how he got his start, what did he do to become the king of rock and roll. Beginning with my positives is Austin Butler. This performance is game-changing for him and his entire career. I cannot wait to see what he does next, but from now on, all I see is Elvis. Everything he does in this movie, his movement, his stature, how he talks, everything about him is Elvis. He is tremendous. This, to me, is for sure an Oscar nomination if he gets there. It comes out, it's in June, so hopefully they don't forget, but man, oh man, if Rami Malek could win for Bohemian Rhapsody, I 100% believe Austin Butler should be nominated at least. He is amazing. He brings the energy, he brings the soft moments, all the moments you can think of as a person, as Elvis Presley. Obviously, there's not a lot to be said about Tom Hanks. He is the greatest actor of all time, in my personal opinion, and he's very good in this movie. Even though at first we get to see him even older man with all this makeup on, little bit distracting, but once you get used to it, once they go back in time, we get to see him throughout the entire movie. I got used to it because I think Tom Hanks is a great actor, and in this movie as the Colonel, a despicable manager to Elvis, I thought he was really good in this movie. I could see how people be distracted by his makeup and stuff and like just not take him seriously. I thought he was despicable. I wanted to punch him, hit him, what he was doing to Elvis, especially towards the end of the movie. He is a very money-grabbing manager, and it was very interesting to see his perspective telling this story. I like how different this biopic feels from other biopics, because we always see the rise and the fall always is like cheating, drinking, drugs, all of that stuff. A little bit of that is in this movie, but I just like how it's different enough with this perspective of the manager, Tom Hanks, telling the story, him being the villain, possibly, or was it other stuff? Going through that entire movie, telling the story in his perspective was really interesting and a different take on a biopic story. I also want to give a shout out to Olivia DeJonge, which, sorry if I said wrong. She plays Priscilla in this movie, the wife of Elvis, and I think she is so underratedly good in this movie. It took me a good minute to figure out where she was from. I was like, why do I know her? She's the girl from The Visit, the little girl, and she's also in an underrated movie called Better Watch Out. She's a great young actress, and she's really good in this very small role, a very key role, but she is very good in this movie. There's a great scene at the very end of this movie with her and Elvis. She is so good. I hope people talk about her a little bit in the reviews because she's so underrated. But besides all the great performances from these three actors, especially Austin Butler, the production design, when it's not green screen, is very good. I mean, the movie's very colorful. The sound design is very vibrant. I could feel the shakiness in my theater of the sound, the guitar hitting. It was great sound mixing, sound design. I think this is stuff that could be nominated, but probably won't be. The costumes, though, I'm calling it now. This should be nominated immediately. All the costumes were just perfect for its era in the 1960s, the 50s, everything, makeup-wise. All of that stuff was very well done. And when it comes to more of just like little things like that, I just appreciate the little details movies put in to put you in this era when it's not green screen. Now let's get into the negatives and let's just talk about Baz Luhrmann. Now let me just say this. If you are a fan of the recent Great Gatsby, good for you. If you love the 1996 Leonardo DiCaprio version of Romeo and Juliet, good for you. Heck, a lot of us love Moulin Rouge. I will give you that one. But I'm gonna say this. I think Baz Luhrmann is a very, very creative director, and he takes risk, and sometimes they work. The Great Gatsby movie, I read as a book in high school, and I liked the movie because I know the story well enough, but the movie itself is so big and bulge in that movie, I don't think it worked well. In this movie, there are many scenes it works. All the scenes that deal with just the concert itself, perfect. It was perfect. But the first 50 minutes of this movie, the editing felt like a trailer. The whole first hour, honestly. And it was very much like, Baz, chill out. Like, you are doing your style. And I understand, it's a 2 hour and 39-minute movie. I was sitting there saying, am I really about to sit here for 2 hours and 40 minutes and watch this? The later half of the movie, like last hour and 30 minutes, whatever, they morely focus on little storylines and get more dramatic and serious. From that point onward, the movie was honestly really good to me. But that first hour, man, I was sitting like, oh my god, let's chillax on these like montages and things popping out and all that kind of stuff. Baz always does this with his movies, just big moments. He does that in all of his movies. I think Moulin Rouge is the perfect balance of that. In this movie, for an Elvis biopic, I think if you're going in, if you want a straightforward Elvis movie, you're not going to get that. You are going to get that concert feeling, big bulge Elvis movie, which a lot of people are liking. I know many people that sell this movie and love it, and I'm happy for them. But for me personally, I just think Baz Luhrmann's style was not it for this movie. Overall, the biggest takeaway is Austin Butler's performance as Elvis. I mean, seriously, guys, this performance is so good. Go see it just for him. I mean, his voice can never be the same because of this movie, because of how well he trained to be Elvis. And like I said, Tom Hanks is great. Olivia DeJonge, sorry if I said that wrong. Great performances, great costumes. And like I said, when it comes to just Baz's style, sometimes it's hitting me across the face too much. And I'm just like, movie, calm down just a minute. I understand what you're doing with all this big green screen and CGI Vegas that we see like 15 times. I was like, there is so much big spectacle that the movie didn't need to go there in those moments. The concert scenes though, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Sound mixing, sound design, when the guitar hits, I could feel it. It was great. Oh, and also, I've always didn't like this. They did this in Great Gatsby too. Putting 2022 music in this movie and it playing around with the sound and like the style of the movie, I'm sorry, I've never really just liked new music in old type movie, like old setting movies. It just has never worked for me. And hearing Doja Cat's version of Elvis's song, I was like, no, I'm good. But like I said, Austin Butler though, I'm gonna give Elvis a B. Even with all that said, I would totally be down to go see this movie again. My mom and dad really want to go see this movie because of Elvis, and I would definitely go with them to watch it again. This movie has a lot of good time to it, but there's just a lot of Baz Luhrmann style. But who knows, if you love his style, you're gonna love this movie. You are going to absolutely love this movie. And if you're an Elvis fan, I mean, this is the best movie of all time for you then. But anyway, guys, if you guys enjoy this movie review, also, little quick thing, if you've noticed, it's a different type of camera. Camera angle going higher and lower with me. Tell me if you like it or not, please, in the comments below. Also, be nice. Anyway, guys, enjoy this review, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye, everyone.